You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump admin rubber stamps absurd plan to make sky 100 times brighter, based on an article by Jim Hightower. Ownership on paper, monopoly in practice. John Deere finally backed down after years of telling farmers they could own a tractor but not truly control it, while Brendan Carr at the FCC rubber-stamped a space mirror fantasy that sounds like it was drafted by people allergic to engineering and accountability. Different sectors, same governing logic. Private power gets to issue commands, and the people living with the consequences are expected to call it normal. The Deere model. Sell it, then seize it back. The Deere story is not about a broken machine. It is about a company using its market power to convert ownership into dependency. Farmers were told they owned the equipment, while Deere withheld manuals, diagnostics, and repair access so only authorized dealers could touch the machinery. That is not customer service gone wrong. That is monopoly discipline. When Walter Schweitzer was left waiting weeks during hay baling season and then billed nearly $4,000 for a job worth about $600, the point was not the repair. The point was control. Who actually forced the settlement? Deere did not suddenly discover fairness. It was pushed. Schweitzer and other farmers organized pressure across 5 states, forcing federal officials to sue. The settlement came only after resistance threatened the company's ability to keep squeezing customers. That matters because the story is not Deere learned a lesson. The lesson came from collective pressure, legal action, and political inconvenience. Corporate executives did what dominant firms do until the cost changes. They held the line as long as they could, then surrendered just enough to stop the bleeding. Carr's orbiting nonsense. If Deere shows how monopoly works on the ground, Carr shows how unserious government becomes when appointed loyalists are given a platform. The FCC chair is reportedly fixated on abolishing NPR, while also endorsing a scheme to cover the sky with tens of thousands of orbiting mirrors to push sunlight onto dark areas of Earth. This is not policy. It is spectacle wearing the costume of innovation. The source says the scheme advances with no public input and only the thinnest assurance that harms are unlikely to occur. That is the language of people who want to appear visionary, while skipping the part where they explain who pays if the bright idea turns into a disaster. Misdirection as a governing style. Trump's habit of hurling lunatic at reporters, protesters, and Democrats is not a personality quirk. It is a political smokescreen. The real lunacy is not the insult. It is the appointment of men like Carr to power, and the expectation that the public should treat their bad ideas as legitimate simply because they came stamped with authority. The same pattern runs through both stories. In one case, a corporation insists the owner cannot fix what they bought. In the other, an official pushes a moonbright fantasy and calls it harmless. In both cases, power tries to redefine domination as expertise. The larger pattern. These stories are about institutional cowardice and elite impunity. Deere extracted rent by making repair a privilege. Carr elevated absurdity by treating public oversight as optional. One is corporate monopoly. The other is administrative clowning in service of a politics that rewards loyalty over competence. The deeper lesson is that democracy fails in small, practical ways before it fails in grand, dramatic ones. When people cannot repair what they own, and when public agencies rubber stamp nonsense without serious scrutiny, the system is already telling the truth about who it serves. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Kiesel, thanks for listening.